When people looked at Daniel's life, they thought he was lucky. They saw success, confidence, and balance. But what they didn't see were the small habits that slowly changed everything. Daniel's life was not always organized. He used to wake up late, scroll on his phone for hours, and feel tired even before the day began. His goals were big, but his actions were small and inconsistent. Every night, he promised himself, "Tomorrow will be different." Tomorrow rarely was. One morning, something changed. Daniel was sitting on his bed, feeling frustrated. He wasn't failing badly, but he wasn't moving forward either. That feeling was worse. He realized he didn't need a big transformation. He needed small control. That day, Daniel made one simple decision. He would start with one habit. Not 10, not 5, just one. He chose reading. Every morning, before checking his phone, Daniel read 2 pages of a book. Only 2 pages. It felt too small to matter, but that was the point. There was no pressure, no excuse. The first week felt strange. The second week felt easier. By the third week, it felt natural. Daniel noticed something important. Reading changed how his mind started the day. Instead of noise, there was focus. Instead of stress, there was clarity. Encouraged by this small win, Daniel added another habit, a simple morning routine. He woke up at the same time every day, no matter what, even on weekends. At first, his body resisted, but slowly his energy improved. His days felt longer. He stopped rushing. Daniel learned his first big lesson. Success does not start with motivation. It starts with routine. He didn't feel inspired every day, but he showed up anyway. Reading 2 pages became 5. 5 became 10. 10 became a part of his identity. Daniel was no longer trying to improve. He was improving. At night, instead of watching random videos, he reflected on his day. What went well? What could be better? These questions helped him grow without judgment. Daniel wrote in his notebook, "Small habits decide big futures." He still had problems. Life didn't become perfect, but now he felt direction. And direction gave him confidence. This was only the beginning. After a few weeks, Daniel noticed something surprising. He no longer waited to feel motivated. Before, he believed success depended on inspiration. If he felt good, he worked. If he felt tired, he stopped. His progress was unstable. Now, his routine was doing the work for him. Every morning, Daniel woke up at the same time. Not because he felt excited, but because it was a rule. He learned that rules are easier to follow than emotions. Some mornings, he felt lazy. Some days, he felt bored. But he still read, still planned his day, still showed up. And slowly, discipline replaced motivation. Daniel added another simple habit. He planned his day the night before. Just 5 minutes. 3 important tasks. Nothing more. This habit changed everything. Instead of waking up confused, he woke up focused. Instead of reacting to the day, he controlled it. Small planning removed big stress. At work, Daniel became more reliable. He finished tasks on time. He didn't rush at the last minute. People trusted him more, not because he was more talented, but because he was consistent. Daniel realized an important truth. Talent starts things, habits finish them. In the evening, when he felt tired, Daniel didn't force himself to do everything. He respected his limits. He rested without guilt. That balance kept him going. One night, Daniel remembered how he used to wait for motivation to appear. Now he smiled. Motivation came after action, not before it. He wrote in his notebook, "Discipline creates motivation, not the other way around." His habits were still simple. Reading, planning, waking up on time, but together they were building a strong foundation. Daniel was no longer depending on mood. He was depending on systems. And those systems were shaping his future. Reading was the habit that changed Daniel's thinking the most. At first, he did not read to become smart or successful. He read to create space in his mind. Just a few pages every morning helped him slow down and focus. Daniel noticed that reading was different from scrolling on his phone. Social media filled his mind with noise. Reading filled it with ideas. Every book gave him a new way to see the world. Some days, he read about self-improvement. Other days, he read stories about people who failed and tried again. These stories reminded him that success is not fast and failure is not the end. Daniel did not rush. He followed one simple rule: read every day, even when it feels boring. This habit improved his vocabulary. His English became better without pressure. He started understanding ideas more clearly and expressing himself with confidence. Reading also taught him patience. A book does not give rewards immediately. You must stay with it, page by page, chapter by chapter. Daniel realized this was exactly how life works. At work, he noticed the difference. He solved problems more calmly. He listened better. His ideas became more structured. Reading had trained his mind. In the evening, Daniel sometimes replaced entertainment with learning. Not always, but often enough to make a difference. He stopped trying to escape boredom and learned to use it. One night, he closed a book and thought, "Every page I read is a step forward." He wrote in his notebook, "Reading daily builds a mind that grows quietly." Daniel understood that reading was not about information. It was about transformation. This simple habit was shaping his character, slowly, silently, powerfully. As Daniel continued his routine, he understood that self-improvement was not about changing everything at once. It was about improving a little every day. He stopped comparing himself to others. Instead, he compared himself to who he was yesterday. One habit Daniel added was daily reflection. Every night, before sleeping, he asked himself 3 simple questions. What did I do well today? What can I improve tomorrow? What did I learn today? This habit took only 5 minutes, but made his days more meaningful. He stopped repeating the same mistakes because he became aware of them. Daniel also worked on his environment. He cleaned his room. He organized his desk. He removed distractions. A clean space helped create a clear mind. Another important habit was limiting negative input. Daniel reduced social media time. He avoided unnecessary arguments. He chose calm music and meaningful content. Slowly, his mindset changed. He became more positive, not because life was perfect, but because his habits protected his energy. Daniel also learned to take care of his body. He didn't go to the gym every day, but he walked regularly. He stretched in the morning. He drank more water. These small habits gave him more energy. Daniel realized something powerful. Self-improvement is self-respect. When he respected his time, body, and mind, his confidence grew naturally. He wrote in his notebook, "Improve 1% every day." Daniel no longer chased quick success. He trusted the process. Each small habit was a brick, and together they were building a strong future. Daniel learned that motivation comes and goes, but consistency stays. Some days he felt tired. Some days he felt bored. Some days he wanted to quit. But he did not stop his habits. Even when he had no energy, he still read 1 page. Even when he felt lazy, he still walked for 10 minutes. Even when the day was bad, he still wrote 1 sentence in his notebook. Daniel understood that success does not come from big actions done once. It comes from small actions done every day. He stopped waiting for the perfect moment. There was no perfect time. There was only now. Consistency taught him discipline. Discipline taught him freedom. Because of his habits, Daniel no longer depended on mood. He depended on routine. Weeks passed, then months. The changes were slow, but real. He spoke more confidently. He thought more clearly. He made better decisions. People around him noticed something different. "You look more focused," one friend said. "You seem calmer," another said. Daniel smiled. He knew the secret. He didn't change overnight. He didn't become successful suddenly. He became successful step by step. One night, Daniel wrote another sentence in his notebook. "Consistency beats talent when talent gives up." He closed the notebook and felt proud, not because he had achieved everything, but because he had not stopped. As Daniel's habits became stronger, new challenges appeared. At first, habits felt exciting. Later, they felt normal. Then, they started to feel difficult. Waking up early was no longer easy. Reading every day sometimes felt boring. Exercise felt heavy on tired days. Daniel realized something important. Comfort is the enemy of growth. He understood that discipline is not about feeling good. It is about doing what is right, even when it feels uncomfortable. One cold morning, Daniel wanted to stay in bed. His body said rest. His mind said skip today, but his habit said stand up. He stood up. That moment changed his mindset. He learned that every time he chose discipline over comfort, he became stronger. Daniel started to see discomfort as a sign of progress. If something felt hard, it meant he was growing. He also stopped comparing himself to others. He focused only on being better than yesterday. Slowly, his discipline spread to other parts of his life. He managed his time better. He spent less time on distractions. He chose learning over scrolling. Discipline gave him control. Control gave him confidence. And confidence helped him face bigger goals without fear. That night, Daniel wrote in his notebook, "Comfort feels good now. Discipline feels good later." He knew success was no longer a dream. It was a direction. As Daniel continued his disciplined routine, reading became his strongest habit. At first, he read only for information. Later, he started reading for understanding. Books slowly changed the way he thought. He learned that successful people think differently. They do not blame others. They take responsibility. One book taught him about time. It said that time is the most valuable resource. Money can be earned again. Time cannot. Daniel started planning his days carefully. Every hour had a purpose. Another book taught him about failure. Failure was not the end. It was feedback. Instead of asking, "Why did I fail?" he asked, "What can I learn?" Reading also made him calmer. He stopped reacting emotionally. He started thinking logically. When problems appeared, he did not panic. He paused. He thought. He acted. Books became his quiet teachers. They spoke without noise. They guided without pressure. Daniel noticed something surprising. The more he read, the less he needed motivation. Knowledge gave him clarity. Clarity gave him direction. Before sleeping, he wrote one sentence every day. One idea that changed my thinking today. Day by day, his mind became sharper. His decisions became wiser. Daniel was no longer just building habits. He was building a new mindset, and that mindset was preparing him for something bigger. Daniel worked hard every day, but nothing changed on the outside. His life looked the same. Same room, same job, same routine. Sometimes he felt confused. He asked himself, "Am I really moving forward?" There were no big rewards, no praise, no applause. But Daniel remembered something he had read. Real growth is silent. He understood that progress often happens inside first. His discipline was stronger. His focus was better. His mind was clearer. Even when results were invisible, he continued. He woke up early. He read. He planned. He improved small things. Some days felt boring. Some days felt slow. But Daniel did not stop. He compared progress to building muscles. You do not see change every day. But one day, the mirror tells the truth. People around him started noticing small differences. He spoke with confidence. He listened more. He reacted less. Challenges that once scared him now felt manageable. Daniel realized something important. Consistency creates quiet power. Most people quit when they see no results. That is why most people stay the same. Daniel chose patience. He trusted the process, even when it felt empty. Deep inside, something was growing. And soon, the world would see it too. One morning, Daniel noticed something different. He woke up before his alarm. Not because he had to, because his body was ready. His habits were no longer a struggle. They had become automatic. Reading felt natural. Planning felt easy. Learning felt enjoyable. At work, Daniel started solving problems faster. He stayed calm under pressure. He made better decisions. His manager noticed. "You've changed," she said. "You're more focused." Daniel smiled quietly. He didn't work harder than others. He worked smarter and consistently. Small habits were now creating big effects. Because he read daily, his thinking improved. Because he planned daily, his time expanded. Because he reflected daily, his mistakes decreased. Opportunities slowly appeared. A new project, more responsibility, more trust. Daniel understood a powerful truth. Success is not one big action. It is many small actions done every day. Most people wait for motivation. Daniel relied on routine. Even on bad days, he showed up. That is why progress finally became visible. His life was not perfect, but it was moving forward. And this time, others could see it too. Daniel knew something big was coming. One evening, Daniel sat alone with his book. He looked back at the person he used to be. Lazy mornings, wasted hours, big dreams with no action. That person felt very far away. Daniel did not become successful overnight. There was no miracle, no shortcut, only habits, simple habits, quiet habits, daily habits, reading when others scrolled, planning when others complained, resting wisely instead of quitting. Daniel understood the final truth. Success is built when no one is watching. People saw results, but they did not see the process. They saw confidence, but not the discipline. They saw success, but not the sacrifices. Daniel smiled. He was no longer chasing success. He was becoming the kind of person success follows. And that changed everything.